Hello there, my name is Zidan Hamdani. I'm from Dance Group. I would like presenting about uh, transcendentalism in poetry. Ralph Waldo Emerson was an American essayist, lecturer, philosopher, and about and poet who led the transcendentalist movement of mid 19th century. Emerson's well-known oration, The American Scholars, touches on three of his most important book. I mean, uh, important themes under the subjects of the educations, nature, books, and action, and art, in that order of importance. Throughout, he draws a distinction between man thinking and man parenting, other man thinking. First, on next slide, the the concept of the union between nature and the individuals are the nature as the object for man's inventions, and the nature is full of study. For the transcendentalist, for the transcendentalist, nature is the symbol. Nature certifying the supernatural, body overflow by life, which he worships with coarse but sincere right. As we can see in Rachman's introducing to criticisms on page 209, things admit of being a symbol because nature is a symbol in the whole and every part. Every line we can draw in the sun has expression. There is no body without its spirit or genius. Okay, in my interpretations, there is a connected between. There is a connected with individuals, which mean man's need nature and nature needs man, because man seeks the truth by imaginations and intuitions. Intuition, so impulse is sympathetic identification with all the thing. So the individual as a small side of nature, microcosms, who believe the truth on his private heart, uh, on his private heart is true for all man. That's a genius. Okay, next slide, about self-reliance and self-explorations to nature. They are has a relation on individualism by asserting the importance thinking of for oneself rather than meekly accepting other people's idea. Self-reliance is the man who rely on their intellect power needed for strong and courageous individualism. To rely on others' judgment is cowardly without inspiration or hope. A man with self-esteem, on the other hand, exhibits originality and is childlike, unselfish by selfish need, yet mature. As in Rachman introducing to criticism, page 200, 209, 200, 260. This is reason why Bart loved wine, made narcotic, coffee, tea, and film, and and of sandalwood and tobacco, whatever other fragrances of animals exhibition for self for self explorations. All the men avail themselves of such means as they can to add extraordinary power extraordinary power to their normal power. The poet's habits of living should be set up on my on a key so low that the common influence should like him, like his cheerfulness should like him. I mean, like his cheerfulness should be the gift of the sunlight. The air is suffering the inspiration and could be tipsy with water. Is jadi so it's as easy so easy s- as that. For a little conclusion in me, is the man should be enjoy and feel the nature to invention, the imagination and intuition for seeks the truth, which which does not come by study, but by their intellect being where and what it sees. Okay, that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Shofiyyatun U.F as the second speaker. Next, the concept of living in simplicity. The simplicity of the universe is very different from the simplicity of a machine. The simplicity of nature is not that which may be easily read, but is inexhaustible. The last analysis can always be made. Beyond this universality of the symbolic language, we are apprised of the deepness of the superior use of things. Whereby the world is a temple whose walls are covered with emblems, pictures, and commandment of the deity in this, that there is no fact in nature which does not carry the whole sense of nature, and the distinction which we make in event and in affairs of low and high, highness and base, disappear when nature is used as symbol. We are far from having exhausted the significance of the few symbols we use. We can come to use them yet with a terrible simplicity. Next slide. The difference between romantic and transcendentalism. Romanticism and transcendentalism are closely related. However, there are several concepts that are emphasized in both. This may be a view of personality, nature, philosophy, or spirituality. Romanticism includes aesthetic categories such as art, literature, and music. However, we cannot deny that much of the Romance draws inspiration from the classical ideal model. They also explore ideas about elegance, whimsical, and exotic, and put them at the top of their craft, writing or painting. In contrast, transcendentalists believe in philosophy of refinement but are still connected to sensual motifs. Transcendentalism is also related to the basis of religion, inner spirituality, and human essence in upholding nature as a place of refuge. According to Emerson, half of the reality of man is what he expresses, and ideally every man should be able to report in conversation what has befallen him. But language tends to wear itself out in choices. Every thought eventually becomes a sort of prison. It is the poet who forgets of a refurbishment of language and provides the renewed possibility of mental liberation. In this view, poetic language would seem to constitute and reconstitute the real. Emerson does not seem to have any theory of the poem as a whole. Thought for him is prior to form. The poem is a transcendental thought, but his remarks about the fluxional nature of symbols and his criticism of symbols with fixed univocal meanings are suggestive. That's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Kusuma as the last speaker. The next is the Transcendentalist through in poetry. Transcendental poetry is a term related to the theory of poetry and literature, and more precisely to the field of aesthetic and romantic philosophy. Transcendental poetry uses a kind of meter. Lines have a number of syllables and often rhyme. However, this is not always the case. Transcendental poets often use metaphors and figurative language similes. It is most often used to find similarities between natural subjects and states of being or divine ones. The next is human expression as individual uniqueness. Perhaps the most important transcendentalist value is the importance of the individual. They see the individual as pure, and they believe that society and its institutions undermine this purity. Transcendentalists highly value the concept of thinking for themselves and believe that people are best when they are independent and able to think for themselves. Only then can individuals come together and form an ideal community. And next is nature is the worst resource for the poor. Transcendents do not believe in organized religion, but they are very spiritual. Instead of believing in the divinity of religious figures, they see nature as something sacred and divine. They believe that it is very important of having a close relationship with God. The transcendental see nature as perfect as it is. Humans should not try to change or improve it. That's all from our group. Sorry for the mistake. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.